Hello and good day. I'm Jeffrey De Leon. On this video, my group will discuss about the related Philippine law. So, kapag sinabi nating law, it is the discipline and principles of which concern to the customs, principles, and rules of conduct of the community. Law is also protects the rights of everyone against to someone who committed crime, which is against the law. And we have here the sample of Philippine law, the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, or also known as the Republic Act number 8293. Sa law na to, ang tinatalakay dito is the right of the original author or creator. So kapag may nag-copy ng work ng original author, kailangang i-recognize nung taong yun na yung kinuha niyang work is gawa ng original author para hindi siya makasuhan or makulong. Next is the section 22 part 4 states that the law declares that the computer programs are not patentable. So under this section 22 that not patentable inventions. So kapag sinabi natin not patentable inventions, ito yung mga invention dati na ginawa ng mga original authors or tinatawag din natin old ideas. Old ideas. Ito yung pinaka-original talaga na hanggang kasalukuyan is ginagawa pa din natin siya. So, kapag sinabi naman nating patentable inventions, ito yung mga inventions of new ideas. Kumbaga, in-improve ng ibang original author yung mga na-publish na works, then nilagyan nila ng mga bagong ideas and naging bagong invention. Next, some of the examples of not patentable inventions are schemes, rules, and methods of performing mental acts, playing games, or doing business and programs for computer. Next, we have here the original works. So, when we say original works, it is the referred to the works of the original author. So, under the section 172, which is the literary and artistic works. So, sa literary and artistic works, mahirap talaga yung mag-copy ng mga ideas here sa mga original works without the recognition or reference na galing talaga siya nila. So, under 172.1, literary and artistic works, hereinafter referred as works, the original intellectual creations in the literary and artistic domain protected from moment of their creation and shall include in particular. So, under sa section ng 172.1, ang ginagawa ng law na ito is, ito yung right ng author kung paano niya protektahan yung work niya. So, paano nga ba protektahan ng author yung work niya? So, kailangan niyang, pwede siyang pumunta sa publishing house para maipakredit yung ginawa niyang works na sa kanya yung gawang yun. Next is 172.2 section. Works are protected by the sole fact of their creation, irrespective of their mode or form of expression, as well as of their content, quality, and purposes. So, sinasabi dito na this law is helps protect the works or creations of the original author. So, dito na pumapasok yung pwede na mag-demand yung author kung may nagawa nga bang mali yung nag-copy dun sa work niya. So, the right of the author or the original author. Next is section 189 or the reproduction of computer program. So, from the word reproduction is about the publication or paggawa ng works or any artistic works or literary. So, under section 189.1, notwithstanding the provision of 177, the reproduction in the backup or adaptation of computer shall be permitted without the authorization of the author or other owner of copyright in a computer program by lawful owner of the computer program. So, dito, tinatalakay dito is yung the right of the buyer and the original author. So, dito, may right yung buyer na or someone na pwede siya mag-adapt ng works or ideas dun sa original author sa ginawa niya. But ang kailangan niyang gawin is to follow the provision of 177, which is the right of the author. So, that is the right of the buyer, the 189.1. Kailangan niyang sumunod sa provision ng 177, which is the right of the author. So, this is the way of respecting the rights. Next is the use of the computer program in conjunction with the computer for the purpose and to the extent for which the computer program has been obtained. Archival purposes and for the replacement of the lawfully owned copy of the computer program in the event that in the lawfully obtained copy of the computer program lost, destroyed, and recovered unusable. So, dito na pumapasok yung tanong na, bakit kailangang mag-backup or i-recognize yung kinopyang ideas ng buyers sa original works. So, dito, kahit pwedeng sinasabi rin na kahit mawala yung ginawang or kinopyang works ng buyers sa original works, pwede pa rin siya mag-adapt as long as sinusunod niya yung provision sa under section ng 177, which is the right of the author. So, para sa mga kabataan dyan na tulad ko, when we are going to adapt ideas to someone's property na galing talaga sa kanila, ang gawin natin is wag nating angkinin. We should respect their rights as the original author para hindi rin na rin tayo makasuhan. Kasi I think sa panahon ngayon is pwede na makasuhan yung mga taong nangopya or nangunguha or nang-aangkin ng gawa ng iba na kahit hindi naman sa kanya. So, tinatawag siyang plagiarism. So, that's all, and thank you.
1899.2 No copy or adoption mentioned in this section shall be used for any purpose other than ones determined in this section, and any such copy or adoption shall be destroyed in the event that continued possession of the copy the computer program ceases to be lawful. Dito, makikita natin kung ano yung mga crime punishable sa pagka-copyright or infringement sa ating computer programs. So, number 1, imprisonment of 1 year to 3 years of fine ranging from 50,000 pesos to 150,000 pesos for the first offense. So, sa first offense, makukulong siya ng 1 taon hanggang 3 taon at pwede siyang magbayad ng 50,000 pesos hanggang 150,000 pesos. Sa second offense naman, makukulong siya ng 3 taon at 3 taon at 1 araw hanggang 6 na taon at magbabayad siya ng 150,000 pesos at 500,000 pesos. Sa pangatlo naman, pwede siyang makulong ng 6 na taon hanggang at 1 araw hanggang 9 na taon at pwede siyang magbayad ng 500,000 hanggang 1,500,000 pesos para sa third offense at sa mga susunod pang offense niya. Pero, and sa letter D, in all cases, subsidiary imprisonment in cases of insolvency. Kung sa first offense, second offense, and third offense, kung hindi ka, sa letter D, kung hindi ka makakapagbayad, maaari kang dagdagan ng pagkakakulong kung hindi mo ito in cases of solvency or hindi ka makakapagbayad sa iyong first offense, second offense, and third offense.
For our topic for today is related Philippine laws, the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, Republic Act 8293. So for section 217.2, in determining the number of years of imprisonment and the account of fine, the court shall consider the value of the infringing materials that the defendant has produced or manufactured and damage that the copyright owner has suffered by reason of the infringement. So, for this is already mentioned in section 217.1 reported by Jenaline and stated there in the module that there are different years of imprisonment and the different account of fine. So, let's proceed in section 217.3. So, any person who at the time when copyright subsists in a work has in his possession an article which he knows or ought to know to be an infringing copy of the work of the purpose of A. Selling, letting for hire, or by way of trade, offering, or exposing for sale or hire the article. So, before we proceed to the letter A, copyright is a collection of all the rights enjoyed by the owner of an artistic or literary work. So, for A, this includes books, pamphlets, articles, and other writings. So, letter B, distributing the article for purpose of trade or for any other purpose to an extent that what will prejudice the rights of the copyright owner in the work. So, this may be applied in the case of companies. For example, these companies provides an avenue to obtain and distribute more materials to various persons. So, for last, letter C, trade exhibit of the article in public shall be guilty of an offense and shall be liable on conviction to imprisonment and fine as above mentioned, Section 29, number 49A. So, here is the imprisonment and account of fine as above mentioned. This is the act of aiding or abetting such infringement shall be guilty of a crime punishable. And this is the imprisonment of 1 to 3 years and more. And it depends to the fine account. So that's all for section 217.2 and 217.3 for the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, Republic Act 8293. That's all. Thank you.
E-Commerce Republic Act Number 8797. E-commerce is maintaining relationship and conducting business transaction by means of computers, telecommunication network that include selling information, service, and good by means of computer telecommunication network. Although e-commerce usually refers to trading of goods and service over the internet. E-commerce consists business to consumer, the business to business commerce, as well as organizational transaction that support those activity. Wide adoption of internet and introduction of the World Wide Web in 1991, the first browser to access www in 1993, most e-commerce shifted to internet. More recently, global spread of smartphone and accessibility of fast broadband connection to the internet, much e-commerce moved to mobile device. And the Republic Act Number 8797, in June 12, 2000, President Joseph E. Estrada signed the Law Public Act 8792. It is a landmark of history of the Philippines. The Philippines internet community has played a major role in pushing for its passage. The law took effectively in June 19, 2000, this act aims to facilitate domestic international dealings and informational storage through the utilization of electronic, optical, in similar, module mode, instrumentalities, and technology to recognize the authenticity and reliability of documents related to such activity and to promote the universal use of electronic transaction of general public. Electronic signature. What is electronic signature means? Symbol or other data in digital form attached to electronical transmitted document as verification, the sender instant to sign the document. This is what they use to speed up the signing process, just like the Adobe app, PandaDoc, and DocuSign. You can create your own signature in your cell phone, iPad, and computer. You can sign using your hand. These are the one used by the mayor, doctors, and others because it will be easier to sign in the document and PDF.
Section 30. The obligations and liabilities of the parties under electronic data message or electronic document. The making, publication, dissemination, or distribution of such material or any statement made in such material, including possible infringement of any right subsisting in or in relation to such material. The service provider does not have actual knowledge or is not aware of the facts or circumstances from which it is apparent that the making, publication, dissemination, or distribution of such material is unlawful or infringes any right subsisting in or in relation to such material. The service provider does not knowingly receive a financial benefit directly attributable to the unlawful or infringing activity. The service provider does not directly commit any infringement or other unlawful act and does not induce or cause another person or party to commit any infringement or other unlawful act and or does not benefit any obligation founded on contract. The obligation of a service provider as such under a licensing or other regulatory regime established under written law. Any obligation imposed under any written law. The civil liability of any part to the extent that such liability forms are the basis for injunctive relief issued by a court under any law requiring that the service provider take or refrain from action necessary to remove, block, or deny access to any material to preserve evidence of a violation.
Section 33. Penalties. The following acts shall be penalized by fine and or imprisonment as follows. Hacking or cracking, which refers to unauthorized access into or interference in a computer system, server, or information and communication system, or any access in order to corrupt, alter, steal, or destroy using a computer or other similar information and communication devices without the knowledge and consent of the owner of the computer or information and communication system, including the introduction of computer viruses and the like, resulting in the corruption, destruction, alteration, theft, or loss of electronic data, message, or electronic document, shall be punished by a minimum fine of 100,000 pesos and a maximum commensurate to the damage incurred and a mandatory imprisonment of 6 months to 3 years. Hacking is the process of gaining unauthorized access into a computer system or group of computer system. This is done through cracking of passwords and codes which gives access to the systems. Cracking is the term which specifies the method by which the password or code is obtained. The person who undertakes hacking is known as the hacker. The hacking can be done on single system, a group of system, an entire LAN network, a website or a social media site, or an email account. The access to a password, privacy, or the unauthorized copying, reproduction, dissemination, distribution, importation, use, removal, alteration, substitution, modification, storage, uploading, downloading, communication, making available to the public, or broadcasting of protected material, electronic signature, or telecommunication network such as but not limited to the internet in manner that infringes intellectual property rights shall be punished by an imprisonment of 6 months to 3 years. Violation of the Consumer Act, Republic Act No. 7394 and other relevant or pertinent laws through transaction or using electronic data messages or electronic documents shall be penalized with the maximum penalty of 1 million pesos or 6 years imprisonment. The E-Commerce Act aims to preserve the integrity of channels of information and communication in the country in order to facilitate lawful commerce and the economic activities. Thus, it penalizes acts that use information and communication technology networks to commit criminal and the other illicit activities. The provision quoted above, Section 33 of the law, focuses on copyright infringement committed online. Thus, in the context of plagiarism, it focuses on copyright infringement committed online. Thus, in the context of plagiarism, if a person uses the internet of appropriate the intellectual creation of another without intellectual creation of other without attribution, and such appropriation amounts to copyright infringement under the IPC, he or she will likewise be liable under the E-Commerce Act.